What's up, noobs? I'm Greener, this is Greener Gaming. Log in and let's go!
Alright, so I wanted to do something a little different today. I want to try to make a Marvel Snap video that is not gameplay, but hopefully still entertaining to watch. Probably all of you have clicked off the video already. But in this video, I want to go over my top 10 favorite cards in Marvel Snap. Hey, and then at the end of the video, we'll even open up some caches. Doesn't that sound fun? It sure does, Greener Games. So I've ordered these 10 cards, not in order of how much I like each of them, but by their energy. It was easier that way for me, because I don't know how much I like one card over the other, but I know I like all of these 10 cards the most in the game. Starting off with number 1, you guessed it, it's your girl Nebula. Each turn your opponent doesn't play a card here, +2 power, except the turn you play her. She's basically a replacement for Sunspot since the Sunspot nerf. I've heard people calling for a nerf on her. She's just such a versatile card. You can throw her into any deck. It forces your opponents to either just let you build up power and hope they draw their Killmonger, or they have to put power in that lane, and then you can just give up on that lane, honestly, and play power elsewhere. And it's a sneaky, she's a sneaky kind of card that, like, when you really think about it, that's what she's doing. She's manipulating your opponent's play. And I thought that was really cool. Also, her base art is fire. Purple's my favorite color, by the way. So I'm always drawn to purple art and things. And I just love this. And she has a pretty sick variant, too, that came out. A lot of the time, the variants they release with cards are not great. And I thought this one was pretty fire. I do believe this is like a scene when she's found by Thanos, right? And he hooks her up to the machine to see her memories from the alternate Nebula. Pretty cool. All right, number 2, not the flashiest card, but a good old reliable. We have armor. Ongoing cards at this location can't be destroyed. I mean, how many decks can you throw armor into? Pretty much any. You can find an excuse to run armor in anything. If you have a lot of 1-drops, put in armor. If you have a lot of big drops, put in armor. If the meta has a lot of destroy stuff, put in armor. Hey, you just want to go to vacation for Hawaii for a day, put in armor. Hey, maybe you just want to walk down the store and buy a Pepsi, put in armor. Like, you can use armor in anything. But yeah, no, it's a solid card. I mean, the 2/3 stat line, pretty solid for a 2-drop. Doesn't feel bad to play ever, unless like someone puts an armor on your Nova lane. That can feel pretty bad. But playing her yourself, it's pretty spicy. I can't believe I don't have a variant for armor. I have like the split variant, you know, but that's not a big deal. I use the infinite border one. So number 3, I know she just came out, but I've been playing her a ton in the past couple of days. We have Ghost Spider. On reveal, the last card you played moves here. For so long, movement decks have felt like they're almost good. They're very difficult to play, and usually that difficulty is not rewarded because it always felt like there was something missing. And I do strongly believe that Ghost Spider was the missing piece of that puzzle. And the other move cards that are coming in later on this month, I do think those will also help this archetype out so much. Like, I like move decks, but I also kind of hated move decks because they're fun and they're difficult, but they were mediocre at best and not very reliable. Like, you had to pull the exact nuts in order to pull off movement before. And even with this one card, it feels like a whole new archetype. It just, movement feels very strong just with the addition of one card. So, I mean, I gotta give her a spot, right? Besides, the artwork is fantastic. And I love Into the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse yet. Want to, though. I don't have the variant yet, but the variant that they released her with looks incredible. Like, the color palette is just awesome. The background looks sick. I just think she's a really cool character, and I love the card. All right, so at number 4 here, another good old reliable card that I've been using ever since, what, Pool 2? Storm. On reveal, flood this location. Next turn is the last turn cards can be played here. I mean, she's your staple in lockdown decks. She's a staple in surfer decks. There are a bunch of decks that Storm fits into perfectly. Some people with movement decks play Storm because you can just put a cloak in the Storm lane and then move your big dude in there if you need to. But the art on Storm also very fire. She was one of my favorite X-Men traditionally, and I only have one variant for her, but it still looks pretty spicy. She has a lot of good variants too. But I like this one just fine. This is the one I use, and I like to play a lot of Sarah decks, and Storm is often winning, for sure winning you at least one lane. Okay, so I think I did these a little out of order. My notes are terrible. So Zabu was technically supposed to come before Storm because he's a 2-drop, she's a 3-drop. Whatever. We're all here to have a good time, right? People make mistakes. But yeah, the next on the list for me is Zabu. I'm sure you either love or hate this card. You've seen him everywhere since release. Ongoing, your 4-cost cards cost 1 less, minimum 1. This is still a staple in a lot of decks, even after he was nerfed. I mean, how many decks does he work in? He works in Darkhawk decks. He works in all manner of Sarah decks. He works in control decks. He works in a lot of decks. Any deck, if you want, any deck that wants to play like a Shang-Chi and an Enchantress and then some other spicy 4-drops, Zabu's just in there. I don't think I've seen a card played more since playing this game on release than Zabu. So I mean, I had to. He's too good. He's too good. I mean, I like the artwork fine. I'm actually not too crazy about his variant that he was released with, but you know, it's still fine. I still use the base one mostly because I have this one infinite and I don't have the other one infinite. When I get the other one infinite, I'll probably use that one. He's sort of just everywhere. An everywhere card has to be one of your favorites, unless you absolutely hate it. Okay, coming in next, we have ya boy Agent Coulson. On reveal, add a random 4-cost and 5-cost card to your hand. First of all, he's a 3/4, which is pretty good. So you don't feel bad about playing him. You're not like losing a whole lot of power for playing him. But he's your RNG man. He's the guy who makes the game fun and exciting because you never know what you're going to get from him. And that means your opponent also doesn't know what you're going to get from him. Pair him up with your boy we just talked about, Zabu, and that 4-cost becomes a 3-cost. And when you can just like vomit out this bunch of nonsense and your opponent is like, what? Where did that come from? Huh? Hello? It's just a feels good feeling for you. I mean, feels bad for them, but it just adds that little bit of the little bit of spice to the game that we all needed. Like, games with too much RNG are bad, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. And games with no RNG are boring because they're predictable. So you need just a splash of RNG, and Agent Coulson does that perfectly. And this is the variant that I use. By the way, this is the best variant in the game. Even though my base Coulson is infinite and this one isn't, I still use this one because, again, you can't not use the best variant in the game. All right, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I like Sarah. I make so many Sarah deck videos, and I'm gonna make another one soon. It's just gonna happen. I can't help it. The card's too good. Ongoing, cards in your hand cost 1 less. And of course, Sarah usually runs 4-cost cards. Pair her up with your boy Zabu, then they're down to 2-cost cards. And you can just make some crazy stuff happen. So you can play Sarah in a bunch of different ways. You can play Sarah Control with like a big bishop, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, their stuff, Maybe finish off with a Mysterio big hit monkey, something like that. You can play her in hazmat decks. You can play her in surfer decks. You can probably figure out more stuff. I've been trying to figure out a Sarah move deck. I've been fiddling around with some stuff. I haven't figured out anything quite good yet. I know other people have, but I kind of want to figure one out on my own for Sarah, but it's just difficult because every time I try to make like a Sarah move deck, it feels like I'm doing too many things in one deck and it becomes awkward. But hey, maybe we'll get there. But very cool artwork. I love the whole fire coming out of the eyes, and like, I don't know what is she burning a city down? I don't even know what's happening here. Unfortunately, I do not have a variant for her. All I have is the Infinity Split, but she does have some very cool variants in the game. And hey, if you're ever wondering about a card to pick up that you don't have, definitely get Sarah. One of the best cards in the game. I said it here. I'm not taking it back. All right, next up, we have your girl Stature. I am sad that she got nerfed from a 7 power down to a 6, but I understand why. She was very, very overplayed. I was sort of playing her when she was... Yeah, no, I was definitely playing her when she was overplayed. I was going to say I was playing her when she was sort of medium played, but no, by that point, everyone was playing her. Like, the Bolt and Stature deck was one of the best decks in the game for too long. They nerfed Bolt too. Like, that deck, I think, has like 3 or 4 nerfed cards in it, which is kind of funny. But I just love the idea that you had this stipulation, you know, cost 1 if your opponent discarded a card from their hand this game. So you get this automatically if you're playing against a discard deck, which is cool. But you had Bolt as your enabler. And Bolt was an 8 power at one point. He's 7 power now. Still very strong. This deck is still very strong. Yeah, they shaved off 2 power between Bolt and Stature, but it's still solid. I really like the sneaky play of playing Moon Girl, even though it's not reliable. Moon Girl then having double Stature on your final turn, that was always fun. And a lot of the times people can't deal with you playing out as much power as you're about to play out on your final turn, because a 1/6 played with something else big, right? Like a big 5-drop. It's just like, what do you do, right? It's too much power coming out all at once. And I love this artwork, by the way. I think it's so funny. Just chilling, sitting on a building. What? You never sat on a building before? Hey, it's New York. I'm walking here. That was unnecessary. Sadly, I do not have a variant. I just have the split. But her variant is cool. I like the one where she's like shrinks down tiny and she's like, there's like a giant cat behind her or something. You know what I'm talking about. Definitely an A+ card. If you're not planning on playing her, maybe don't pick her up, but like, I don't know, I still would, man. I love this card so much. Okay, so next up, I love this card so much. Null is such a fun card. Ongoing has the combined power of all cards destroyed this game. So I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Galactus, so Null is kind of annoying in Galactus decks, but I really like destruction decks. So I really like Null in destruction decks. Notably, he's really fun to play in Mr. Negative decks. I made a video about that a while ago, and it was just crazy the stuff you could do. Because having a 0/6 Null that you could just pop out and like Arnim Zola and all this crazy stuff and duplicate it with Mystique, like you ended up having like hundreds of power sometimes in lanes. And you can't do that with every card, right? Not every card gives you the ability to have hundreds of power in a lane. And it's always fun doing it. It's never not fun. And in order to do some crazy stuff with Null, you really got to work at it. Like, if you don't destroy enough stuff and he's a 6 cost, your Null's probably only going to be like 8 power. And that's no good, right? And there's a lot of ways your opponent can disrupt you with like Cosmos and Armor and Arrow and Polaris, all that kind of stuff to draw your destruction cards away from destroying things. So you really got to jump through some hoops to make him work, which is why I think he's balanced. And it's a super fun card. I love the art. I'm always a big fan of the symbiotes, right? So you won me over with the symbiote dude here. Sadly, do not have a variant for him. He has some cool ones though. The split doesn't look too bad, but I still like to rock the OG. And finally, throwing you a little bit of a left field here, sports reference. I play sports. No, I don't. I know what I'm talking about. No, I don't. Orca. I love this card. One of the reasons why I love this card is because Orca gets no love, man. He gets no love. They gave him a buff though, which I thought was really, really cool because he's actually pretty viable if you play like control lockdown decks, right? Like you lock down one lane with Professor X, you drop Orca on the final turn. They're not expecting 16 power from one card in a lot of cases. And yeah, you can just surprise your opponents with them. Oh yeah, I should mention ongoing +5 power if this is your only card here. And because like with the Professor X style deck, you're mostly playing Professor X on 5. You're not going to want to be playing a whole bunch of stuff on your final turn, especially if you're using Electro, right? This is really good in ramp decks, so you don't need to be playing multiple cards, you know, or conversely, you play Wave, so they can only play one thing. So your one thing and their one thing, unless they're also playing Orca, your one thing is always going to be bigger. And I think the artwork on this looks pretty cool. But this, ooh, this is spicy fire. This is one of my favorite pixels. I mean, I'm a fan of the pixel variants. I know there's a lot of bad ones. I know. But I love this one. Everything's clear. You know what I mean? You can see all the stuff. Looks like it would be a really cool character in an old school, like Final Fantasy game or something. But yeah, the last card on the list, we got Mr. Orca. Did you see the Orca coming? No, you didn't, because you never see Orca coming. Okay, to finish out the video, we'll open up some caches. I don't have many. I only have 10 because, you know, I'm not a whale. I'm broke as a joke, but I managed to save up 10 to, you know, sneak somewhere into a video. So, let's see what we get here. We got the M'Baku Pixel. Sure, we'll set that as favorite. Love me some pixels, right? 100 collector's tokens, that's fine. I'm outside your house. This bothers me. I don't know about you guys, but getting titles, these titles, taking up your caches, it drives me nuts. This and avatars, all the cosmetic stuff that you get out of caches, get rid of it. Hey, second dinner, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Give us variants. Give us tokens. You know, credits even. I'll take gold. Get rid of this nonsense, please. 200 tokens, all right, that's fine. 400 credits. Ask and you shall receive, I guess. We got a cool lockjaw variant. Yeah, we'll set that as favorite for sure. Another 100 tokens. 600 tokens. Now that is what I'm talking about. That's pretty spicy, honestly. 400 creds, whatevs. Last but not least, 300 credits. So we got, you know, 2 variants, bunch of tokens, only one bad one out of 10 caches. You know, I'll count that as a win. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I really do, because I'd really like to do more stuff like this. It would actually help me with my channel, because then I'd be able to make more content, because a lot of the times I run out of decks to play and then I can't make a video. And I'd love to be able to do other types of content, whether it's just different stuff in the Marvel Snap community or maybe different games, whatever. Again, please let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, if you liked the video, why don't you click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and anyway, GG.